Jimmy Doyle wasn't born in the spotlight. He came into the world as James Emerson Delaney on August 12, 1924, in the thick of Los Angeles sun. But his roots ran deeper, all the way to New Orleans. His parents, Edward and Marie Elodie, were Creoles who spoke French before English, who brought their culture west hoping to build something new. Jimmy grew up in that blend of music, of faith, of quiet pride, and the kind of pressure that never had to be spoken. By 17, he was trading punches for a living. He turned pro in 1941, still a teenager. To most, he was just another fighter with fast hands and something to prove. But Jimmy had a purpose. He wasn't fighting for fame. He wanted to put his mother in a home she could call her own. That was the dream. That was the engine behind every round he fought. But California turned on him. After a few brutal knockouts, the boxing commission there refused to let him back in the ring. They said it wasn't safe. So Jimmy went where they would let him fight, Cleveland. And that's where the story turns tragic. June 1947. Jimmy Doyle stood across from Sugar Ray Robinson, the reigning welterweight king. Robinson had the headlines, the footwork, the lethal combinations. But Doyle had desperation. He had fire in his bones. 4-6 rounds. Robinson owned the ring, except for one. The sixth. That's when Jimmy rattled him. Twice, he rocked Sugar Ray, opened a cut over his right eye. For that brief moment, Doyle wasn't the underdog. He was the storm. Then came the eighth. Robinson saw an opening. Doyle threw a right. Robinson slipped, came back with a left hook that landed flush. Jimmy went down, flat on his back. He tried to rise, propped himself up on his elbows, reached for the ropes, but his body wouldn't answer. The bell rang just before the ref counted 10. It didn't matter. His corner stopped it. They knew something was wrong. Jimmy never woke up. 17 hours later, he was gone. A priest stood over him at St. Vincent's Hospital, whispering last rites as Sugar Ray rushed in, too late to say goodbye. News spread fast. There were whispers of charges, manslaughter even, but none ever stuck. What stuck was the reason Doyle had taken the fight in the first place. Sugar Ray later revealed it. Jimmy had told people he needed the money to buy his mother a house. Robinson gave his next 4 fight purses to Doyle's mother. He made sure that house was bought. Years later, Sugar Ray would confess something else. On the morning of the fight, he'd had a nightmare. He saw himself killing a man in the ring. He tried to cancel the bout. His team talked him out of it. Afterward, that dream haunted him. Some called it coincidence, others a curse. But for Jimmy Doyle, it was no myth, no ghost story. Just a young man with a mother to care for, a dream too heavy to carry, and one fight too many. And that was the last round he ever fought. Jimmy Doyle didn't leave behind a championship belt or a string of headlines. What he left was something harder to forget, a quiet reminder of how far a son will go for the woman who raised him. His story isn't about glory. It's about sacrifice, about stepping into the ring not for fame, but for family. In the end, he gave everything for a house he'd never lived to see, a home he'd never walked through, but his mother did. And maybe, just maybe, that's what he wanted all along. He wasn't just a fighter. He was a promise in motion. And even after the final bell, that promise lived on.